And all right. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Could you just let us know in the chat when you can see us and hear us? Again, we are live. So please let us know in the chat when you can see us and hear us. Now, the reason I ask this, so Paige, you told me earlier that you've done a few workshops in your time. So the reason I always ask this at the beginning is because one of my first ever webinars, I had a really, really horrible experience. I was pretty confident, it was my first time, but I was still like, oh, I'm feeling good about this. So I got about like 10 minutes in, I was rocking, I was rolling, I was like moving through my slides. I thought the audience was loving it. And then I went back into the chat after a couple of minutes and everyone
No,
let me know that I had not shared my screen and that, I just been like, and today we're going to be talking about like the whole time. So now I always ask at the beginning, and Tiffany and Rebecca can see and hear us. That's great. So, and it looks like other folks can as well. So one thing I'd love to know is let us know where in the world you're joining us from. I'm tuning in from Salt Lake City, Utah. Paige, I know you said you're based in
I'm
Germany.
in Hanover, Germany.
Nice.
So I'm
And
not German.
I could tell from the accent.
Yeah, I'm not very German.
We also have we have got folks chiming in from Italy, Kentucky, UK, suburbs of Chicago, Connecticut. So we've got folks from all over. So I'm going to turn this over to Paige in just a second, but before I do, wanted to share a few quick logistical things with everyone. So first of all, I'm just going to quickly share my screen. So you're going to be watching the webinar on a page that looks like this. You've got the webinar over on the left. You've got the chat over on the right. If things see a little bit blurry or like you're finding it hard to read Paige's slides, just make sure you're watching in high quality. So click the gear icon down below. Make sure the quality is all the way at the top, 720p. And if things are a little bit small, like you're squinting or it's hard to read things, just hit the full screen button down on the bottom right. Now, just as a heads up, when you go full screen, you will not be able to see the chat. So you'll have to exit the full screen in order to ask, questions in the chat or anything like that. Speaking of questions, please ask your questions in the chat at any time during the webinar. So Paige is going to be focused on the presentation, but I'll be writing those down for her to answer at the end. But there is one question which I'm going to answer right now. I'm only going to answer it once, okay? Yes, there will be a replay. You will get a replay. You will get a replay at no charge. You will get it automatically. You will get it to your email address, which you used to sign up. So I need your help here. If someone joins late and says like, the first thing to do is like, hey, I'm late. Where is there going to be a replay? Could you just help me out and type in the chat like, hey, yeah, Cam told us there was going to be a replay. So that's the only question that I'm going to answer like right in advance. There will be a replay. So with all
You get that one
said,
often.
oh, no, never heard of it before.
No.
But in any case, so for me here in Salt Lake City, it's 1:03 p.m. So I think we've got enough time for those last minute stragglers to join us. So Paige, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Yep.
Can't wait to learn more about Squarespace.
Good. All right. Well, I am absolutely so pleased to have all of you joining me. And I'm really stoked to give this presentation because this is one of my favorite topics. So let me just open this and we will get started. 3 seconds, y'all. Go. Perfect. All right.
Screen looks good.
You can see it? Okay, wonderful. Yep. So today we are chatting about how to build a Squarespace site that sells 101. So let's get into it. So if we have not met before, it is lovely to meet you. My name is Paige. I do a few things in my business. So I am first and foremost a blogger over at paigebrunton.com, where I've helped over 500,000 readers to build fabulous Squarespace sites. I'm also formerly a Squarespace designer, where I've previously built over 50 Squarespace websites. I also am an online educator. That's what I spend most of my time doing these days, therefore how I know Cameron. So I have 3 online courses. The first one is called Square Secrets. I have another one called Square Secrets Business, and then a very directly named How to Build Squarespace Templates. So basically in those 3 courses, I help people to build amazing websites, build web design businesses, and build Squarespace templates. And finally, I'm also a Squarespace authorized trainer, which basically just means Squarespace says I know enough to teach on their platform. So that is a quick introduction to who I am. Now, I want to give you a little housekeeping. Cameron did some, so I will just mention a couple of my own. So this will go for roughly about an hour. We're also taking questions at the end, and I'm so excited to answer them. And then also I want to let you know that I do have a special offer that will be shared with you at the end, and so it's definitely worth sticking around for. Now, I have a question, and I'd love to see in the chat if maybe does this sound like you? Maybe you're currently procrastinating, looking at all of your competitors' websites, and you're getting stuck in the comparison game. You're looking at everyone else, all the other yoga studios or restaurants or graphic designers, and you look at their websites, and by the moment, you feel worse and worse about yourself. If that's you, I've also been in that place. Or maybe you don't have a site at all, and deep down, you know you really need one for your business. Or maybe you have a site, but honestly, you just don't love the thing. But instead, you wish that you finally had a site that truly feels like you and which does your marketing and selling for you. Now, if that sounds like you, then you are absolutely in the right place today. So let's talk about what we are going to discuss today. First, we're going to talk about the proof that site looks really do matter. We're also going to discuss the program which I recommend to make a fabulous website without becoming a coder or paying thousands and thousands of dollars for some fancy website. Then we're also going to chat about the one magical line of copy that gets people to stick around on your website once they land there. We'll also discuss the one thing you should worry about visitors doing on your site that will put money directly into your pocket. And finally, we'll chat about how to design your site to get your visitors to take the action that you want them to, which I'm guessing is booking or buying from you. Now, story time. If you're wondering like, okay, who is this redhead and how does she know anything about website sales? Then let me give you a little bit more of my background. So I will be completely honest with you. I did not study tech and I did not study marketing in college, yet I have done over $1 million in website sales and I've helped students explode their website sales too. Now, I actually studied recreation and leisure in college. And yes, that is a real thing that I studied for 6 years. I have a master's in it. I basically studied play for 6 years. So I promise you, if someone who has such a random, unusual degree can do this, build a website and make sales on the internet, then you absolutely can too. Now, here's how it happened. So a few days before this photo was taken, that was me on graduation day, I decided to start a travel blog. Now, I'll be honest with you, it was exam time, and having gone to university for quite a few years, I was pretty over the whole studying thing. So instead, I binged a bunch of travel blogs, and I was like, this actually seems kind of cool. I kind of want to start my own travel blog. And the good news was I knew how to travel, but the bad news was I had literally never built a website in my life and had no idea how to actually create one. So I did something which you might be familiar with. And that was I Googled how to build a website, which led me to realizing there's these things called like website building platforms. And so I started comparing them all. And that is when I read all the comparison charts and then finally found and fell in love with Squarespace. Now, while I found Squarespace and truly did love the thing, and I was like, I could finally take what's in my head and put it on a page, I still struggled with quite a few things. Number one was standing out. There's about a bajillion travel bloggers in the world these days, and it's hard to differentiate yourself. I also really wondered, like, what should I put where on my website? I literally questioned what order my social media icons should go in on my website, which, by the way, pro tip, it does not matter at all. I was like, is it Instagram, then Facebook, then Pinterest, or then Twitter? And like, which order do they go in? And I went on everyone else's websites and realized they were all doing it in a different way. I was like, how am I supposed to do it? I also struggled with figuring out how to make a strategic layout for my website because I wanted to figure out how do I get my visitors to do what I wanted them to, but I didn't really know how to design the website in order to make that happen. I then looked at everyone else's website and then I would go on their homepage and be like, okay, what are they talking about here and here and here? And I would compare that to like 3 other of the biggest travel bloggers and realize that everyone was doing it differently and I didn't know what I should be doing. And that's when I was just really like praying and hoping for a one-stop shop of information that would just help me figure out how to build an amazing Squarespace website that, really worked for my travel blog. I can tell you now, I have now created that one-stop shop of information because it didn't exist at the time, but that is over on my blog. So I'm happy to report that after years and years of trial and error, I finally figured it out. That is when I switched over from travel blogger to website designer. This brings me back to how I mentioned I'm in Germany, but I'm not German. I met a charming German guy in a bar in Mississippi and then moved to Germany to be with him. Upon getting to Germany, realized I don't speak German and therefore I have no job opportunities. And that's when I decided like, okay, web designer, I've built a website before, I'm going to do that. But anyways, so that's when I then tested all of my strategies on both my own sites and my clients' websites, and I tracked the results. And some of those things are what I'm going to share with you today. I also found, after again years of trial and error, that I was able to build websites that ideal clients inquired both through my website and my ideal clients' sites every single day. I also found that I just felt a heck of a lot more confident. Finally, I felt like my business was working, people were booking me, and also people were booking through my clients' websites, which just, made my heart so happy. I also SEO'd my way to be the first website designer in Google when you Googled Squarespace website designer. And that's when I started having a different problem. And that was that I literally got an inquiry to build a website a day and fully booked out my business. As one person building websites and getting an inquiry a day, it actually became a bit of a problem, which led me to what I do today. So today I do a couple things. I run the Go To Squarespace web design blog. I also teach the most popular Squarespace online courses, and I've helped over 3,000 students to build Squarespace sites that sell and Squarespace web design businesses. If they're also looking to do something like I did, which was, build a business that allows you to work from anywhere, especially if you live in a country where you don't speak the language. So I want you to imagine for just one moment, waking up to notifications that your site has booked you clients and phone calls with potential clients in your sleep. I want you to imagine never, ever having another awkward, uncomfortable phone call trying to sell to someone again. Imagine having a potential client ask you like, okay, how do I pay you? And what's your next available date? And like, how can we sign a contract? As opposed to someone asking like, and why should I work with you over someone else? I genuinely remember, and this happened to me at the very beginning of my web design business. I got on a call with a man and we had chatted. We were having his like free consultation call together. And then his final question to me was like, all right, and why should I work with you over anyone else? And I don't know about you, but I find it extremely awkward and uncomfortable to like sell myself on the phone. So I was just, yes, I'll just say that, massively uncomfortable and couldn't come up with a solid answer other than I was like, I'm going to do a great job. Like, I don't know how else to say that to you. So now, this has not just happened for me. This is Freya Rose Tanner. So Freya Rose, she's from England, and she's a past student of my Square Secrets course. And she also found the same thing. Once she had a website that really, really spoke to what she did so well, she said, I'm really proud of how clearly I can communicate to my clients what I do on my website. People now trust my services completely before even speaking with me. So if that's what you would like to, if you would like for your website to do the selling so that you don't need to do, the selling, people, once they get on the phone with you or send you an email, they're like, hey, how can I book in? As opposed to you trying to like hop through hoops to, convince them to work with you, then let's get you those same results too. So first, we're going to talk about the proof that your website looks really do matter. I remember I was talking to a friend a couple months ago and she was saying, she's like, oh yeah, I was taking this course and the lady said like, it doesn't matter if you have an ugly website, like ugly websites still work. And I was like, there's actually some proof against that. So let's talk about it. So crazyegg.com, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a website that does a lot of like website statistics and tracking like what works on websites. And in their research, they found that a website's design often provides the first impression a customer has of a company. If the design is outdated, disorganized, cluttered, or uses unappealing colors, it creates a poor first impression. So remember, people might not be going into your storefront these days, but they're definitely going to your website. And if you run a purely online business, like that is the only view of your business that they have, other than, social media. But it's so important. And it's also kind of a good thing. It's like, if you don't have, the budget for a huge brick and mortar store with all the fanciest, decor and everything, just having a really great website can provide that trust for you. Then Social Triggers, a similar website to Crazy Egg, also found that when she reviewed the reasons why people distrusted a website, 94% of them cited design problems. So if you want to build trust with your ideal customers, if you want to build trust and make your website or make your business look legit to your potential customers, then having a great design is one great way to do that. Now, Kissmetrics, Yale University, Stanford, and the University of Michigan noted that researchers wanted to find out if people were more likely to spend money in response to complicated descriptions or simple ones. The simple options won. If consumers felt that an option was simple or easy, it made them more likely to spend their money. So what that means for you is if you want people to spend their money on your website, which I'm guessing you do, then the key thing here is like, Do not have your website look like a hot mess. It needs to be clean and strategic and beautiful in order to really build the trust and help people simply and easily make a decision to buy on your site. Now, let's get into the program that I recommend to make a fabulous site without becoming a coder or paying thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm guessing you can probably guess what it is. So this is Squarespace. It, as it says on their website, is the easy way to build a website. Now, Squarespace is actually also in New York alongside with Teachable, but they have made website building so simplistic and easy that truly anyone can do it. But making a website that really works for your business, it takes a bit more strategy than just popping your site stuff into their like demo templates. But let's go into why it is my favorite. So with Squarespace, when I was looking for a website and trying to figure out how to build my travel blog, I compared all the things and I tried all the things. I tried WordPress, I tried Blogger, I tried Wix, I tried everything. And when I found Squarespace, there was a few things. These were the things that really made me love it. So hopefully you like them too. I loved with Squarespace that there were no tech meltdowns. I never had to worry about something going wrong with my website and then needing to try to figure out how to fix it, even though I wasn't a coder. So Squarespace has a team of engineers in NYC, and they take care of all of those things. It is literally their job to make sure that your website is working all of the time. So if something goes wrong, it's up to them to fix it, not to you, which I hope comes as really good news to you. Also, I like to compare Squarespace to Apple. It is a closed system, which means that the Squarespace engineers in New York City, they are responsible for making sure that there's no security holes in your website. There's no added on plugins that are creating these security holes and therefore having issues with your website. So you never need to worry about security hacks with Squarespace. You'll also spend a grand total of 0 minutes finding plugins because Squarespace is an all-in-one system and they have thought of everything that a small business would need and made sure that they built that into the platform. So Squarespace can do honestly a lot more than just building websites these days. If you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer them at the end. But yeah, basically you don't need to spend hours looking through a sea of plugins. You also do not need any coding knowledge to make a really killer, unique website. Don't feel like you have to go learn CSS and JavaScript and HTML or anything. That is not necessary. Squarespace, once you truly understand how to use the platform, you can make amazing, really unique websites just with the built-in features that it has. And Squarespace is also a drag and drop platform, which makes it super easy to use, but do not mistake that to think that it is not powerful. So there is a myth floating around the internet, which I am on a mission to crush, and that is that all Squarespace sites come out looking just like the original template. Now, I could show you 12,000 examples of this not being the case, but here's just 3 to get you started. So on the left here, this is the Brine template. This is one of the original Squarespace templates, and these 2 websites on the right were both built from that Brine template. And tell me, do those 2 websites look anything like the original? And do those 2 sites look anything like each other? Not at all. So truly, if your website comes out looking just like the template, it's probably because you just swap your photos and for their photos and put your text where their text was, but you can do so much more with that if you understand how Squarespace works. And so here are 2 examples. These were actually both built by past students of mine. The one in the middle was built by Freya Rose Tanner, the one who I just chatted with you about. And then the other one is a architecture firm in San Francisco, which is really awesome. That website is so beautiful. I love looking at it. Now, to build a website that sells, you need to make a really fabulous first impression and get people to trust you. And a clean, modern website does that, and Squarespace makes it easy. So that's why it is my recommendation. And FYI, people have asked me before, no, I do not work for Squarespace, just so we're clear. I really just love it. Now, if you use Squarespace, basically, this is what you can do. You can actually spend time running your business and not fighting with your website, which I'm a small business owner, and I'm sure you can agree that we don't want to spend time fighting with our business. Or fighting with our website. We want to spend time growing our business. Now that brings me to number 3, and that is that one magical line of copy that gets people to stick around on your website. So what is that line of copy? Let's chat first about the problem. And the problem is this. you have literally just seconds to convince your visitors to stay once they have landed on your website. It is likely, let's say, for example, you're a florist. And so maybe it's a potential bride is looking for a florist for her wedding. And so she's Googling, Tampa, Florida, florist or whatever. She opens up literally 10 tabs and she's going through them quickly. And what you need to do on your website is immediately say like, I can solve your problem to get people to stick around for longer than a second and a half. So Google, God of the internet, said this. They said that a website's first impression is known to be a crucial moment for capturing the user's interest. Within a fraction of time, people build a first visceral gut feeling that helps them to decide whether they are going to stay at the place or continue surfing onto other websites. So again, you need to tell people really, really quickly that you can help them and solve their problem before they go open those 10 other tabs. So the best solution that I've found to this so far is a tagline. Now, let's chat about this. So why is a tagline so useful? Because it takes less than 2/10 of a second for an online visitor to form a first opinion of your brand once they've perused your company's site, which means that you need to extremely quickly explain what you do and how you can help to your new site visitor. So I have a question, and you can maybe pop this in the chat. You come on this website. This is genuinely a website that I went to one day. And I want you to tell me, what do you think this business offers? This is, again, a real website. I came across this, and along the top, it looks, let's just start with that. It looks freaking gorgeous. Like, it looks beautiful. And then at the top, we have studios, services, journal, raves, and get in touch, which isn't really specific to anything. And it's just a really beautiful picture, but I don't know what this person actually, or what this business actually does, or how it can help me. So the reason a tagline matters is because if I get to a website like that, I don't know if you're a florist or a wedding planner or an event location or a photographer. It definitely, from the picture, I get the vibe that like, okay, this is something in the wedding industry, but I don't know any further than that. And here is the thing, and that is confusion kills conversion. And so you need to make it stupid simple for your ideal visitor to understand what the heck is happening on your website and how exactly you can help them. So here is my recipe for the perfect tagline. If you do not already have a pen and paper in front of you, or your notes app, or whatever it is that you use, and then open it up real quick, because I'm going to give you my recipe for the perfect tagline. So the first part of your tagline is what you do. So what exactly is it that your business offers? What service or product do you provide? The second part of your tagline is who you serve. So you want to get a little bit more specific on this one as opposed to generic. So let's say, for example, you're in the wedding industry and you serve the Southern Belle, or you serve the creative bride, or you serve the, I don't know, whatever else it is. So you want to go more specific. So if you've defined your ideal client already in your business, then it's good to make them realize like, oh, they serve exactly me. And that's going to be flattering for them. They're going to be, oh, perfect. This person really wants to work with someone just like me. They're going to understand my style and my vibe and what I want and all those things, because they're so specific about wanting to help me. So very commonly, it could be like web designers who help people in like the wellness industry or the health and wellness area or whatever, or people who are spiritual or whatever it is. And so it's really important that you go a bit further than just I serve other business owners or I serve brides. Like who is your ideal client within that subsection of people, basically. Then part number 3 of your tagline is where you are, if you are a location-specific business. So if you're a business like I am and you can serve people all over the world, then you can actually feel free to leave this part off of your tagline entirely. But if you are location-specific, or if you serve a region, then it's very important that you put that in there, not just for the use of your customers, but also for SEO purposes. Because, as you're about to find out in a second, we're going to put this thing on your homepage. And so having those keywords on your homepage in some heading text is very useful for SEO. So if you serve, let's say I'm from Toronto, so maybe I serve brides in Toronto, or maybe I serve them in the whole greater Toronto area. And then I could also list like the, I don't know, few cities that are also in that area, which I also serve. Again, really good for SEO purposes. Alternatively, if you live in one area, say you're a photographer and you're like, okay, I'm based in, Dallas, Texas, but I travel worldwide and I also do destination weddings. And it's worth mentioning that on your website as well. So again, if you're location specific or if you serve a certain region, make sure you specifically name those areas for SEO purposes and then also for the benefit of your customer. I cannot tell you, when I was a bride, like looking for wedding vendors, how many times I went to photographers' websites and I'm like, I don't know where you are. And I was having to like go into their terms and conditions to try to figure out what their address was to know if they were in my area. It was really insane how many people got that one wrong. Now, part number 4 of your tagline is how you're different. Now, if you have just started in business, then I fully understand that this feels like the hardest thing in the world to figure out. And if you don't know how you're different yet, then it's something which like, okay, down the road, once you figure that out, what is your unique selling proposition, then that's something you can add to your tagline in the future. But just know that's what really like takes a okay tagline and makes it an exceptional tagline. So when it comes to how you're different, it could be a wide variety of things. Maybe if you are a logo designer and you use a specific process, or you guarantee a certain time frame, or maybe if you're an interior designer and you only use, I don't know, eco-friendly furniture or something, whatever it is that kind of makes you different than the competition, that's also something fabulous to put in your tagline. And then the final piece of your tagline is a call to action. So a call to action literally just means like a button basically that tells your site visitor what to do next. We're going to talk about where you should send people on your website after this, but basically telling them like, okay, now go do this thing next if you want to, learn more about my services. So here is an example of a website, another genuine website that I came across. And I have to say, this is probably the best that I've seen of someone doing a tagline on their website without me having to taught them about it first. So this website, it had the what and the who in one line. So they do artistically driven floral designs for the creative bride. Bam. One line, got 2 things into it. One thing to know when it comes to your tagline, and honestly anything on your website, is you do not want like ginormous paragraphs of text, because people are skimmers these days. And if remember, your client probably just opened up 10 tabs of different business owners to potentially work with. So having it short and sweet and really quick to be able to read and skim through is really important. Now, where they mentioned that though they're rooted in Phoenix, Arizona, the pedal theory is also available for travel. So beautiful. They've put their location and they've named it specifically Phoenix, Arizona for SEO purposes. And they've also worked in the fact that like we will also serve, clients other places as well. And then they have their call to action, which is learn more, which is beautiful. Now, the one thing that would really take this above and beyond and make it even better is if they put in how they're different. Now, again, this is something which takes time, and it takes time to figure out how am I different and really figure out how to communicate that well. But once you figure that out, that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to put inside your tagline. Now, where this tagline needs to go on your homepage above the fold. So when I say above the fold, all that means is that I don't need to scroll down the page at all to find it. It's just immediately once I get to your homepage, I just see it right away, right like front and center basically. And the reason for this is, again, the whole purpose of a tagline is to get people to stick around on your website longer than a second and a half. And so if it's buried down somewhere in your FAQ or on your about page or on your contact page or even like halfway down your homepage, I might not even get there. Like if I just went on that website, which again, I showed you was super beautiful, but had no description, I would be like, what is this? And then just go to the next tab. So it needs to be on your homepage above the fold at the very top of your website in order to be as effective as possible. So in order to build a site that sells your services, you need to get people to stick around on your website longer than a second and a half, and a tagline is the answer and the best way to do that. Now, after that, if you're wondering like, okay, where do I send them? I have a really fabulous exercise. It's called the website roadmap. Now, I don't have time to go through it with you today, but I do want to let you know if you do want that, you can grab it in my Start Your Squarespace Website workbook. It's at paigebrunton.com/start. And in there, we go through like, okay, once you have someone from your homepage, how do we optimally get them through your website in order to be able to, have them go through your website in a way that will lead them as quickly as possible to the end result, which is probably booking your services. Now, moving on to number 4, that is the one thing that you should worry about visitors doing on your site that will put money in your pocket. So I'm we're going to start off with service-based business owner. So assuming you're a service-based business owner, for example, something like a graphic designer, a virtual assistant, web designer, copywriter, some sort of coach, an event planner or florist, then a free consultation call is the best call to action and website goal for you to have. Now, why is that? The reason for this is because services tend to be expensive. Literally, someone is hiring you for your expertise in something that took you years and years to learn how to do, and that you are really fabulous at. And so that does not come cheap, rightfully so. So when I'm going to go drop, a couple $1,000s, I probably have some questions first, especially if you have a business, which is something that your customer has never had before. So for example, myself, when I was doing website design, people were always wondering like, okay, but is Squarespace right for me? And can I do this thing with it? And I'm wondering about like my logo. I don't have that ready yet. Is that a problem? And all these different things. And we needed to get all of those questions out of the way before they felt ready to book anything, myself or anyone else. So the purpose of having a free consultation call is you can answer those important questions and also build trust, because again, your services are probably not cheap. Now, the other thing you can do on a free consultation call is you can explain your process and how they would move forward with you. So again, if they've never worked with a business owner like this, so maybe you're in the wedding industry and so this is the bride's first time getting married. And so they don't know like what comes included at a venue and all these different things. And like, and when do I need to have my decorations to you? And how do you coordinate with the florist and all these things? And so it's important that you can explain your process. And if you can explain it really, really well, then that really shows the person like, oh, this person knows what they're doing and they have a plan and they're going to guide me through this process, which is very confidence inducing. You can also explain how to move forward. So do they need to pay a deposit? Do they need to sign a contract? Do they need to prepare something for you before you can even get started? That's all important. And you can do this very, very quickly on a call as opposed to like back and forth emails. The other beneficial thing about a free consultation call is that it's a super low barrier to entry. I cannot tell you the number of times. Again, I live in Germany right now. It is not like websites here are not what they are in the US and Canada. And so many times they're like, oh, you want to get your hair cut? Call us between 10 and 4. By the way, we take lunch for 2 hours in the middle of the day. And I'm like, oh God, I'm trying to like book a hair appointment at midnight and I can't do it anywhere. So if you have something where I can like book directly on your website, either a consultation call or the service itself, then that is just so useful. It is a very low barrier to entry. It doesn't take a lot of effort. I don't need to get dressed. I don't need to go into your physical location, or I don't need to call you between certain hours when I'm working. So it's a very easy thing for people to do. The other beneficial thing of having a free consultation call is because there is now the technology available, and I'll show you that in a second, where you can have it just booked directly through your website. You don't have to deal with back and forth emails, which both you and your customer absolutely hate that. So now the exceptions to this, there are a couple. So free consultation calls make sense for all the service-based business owners that I previously mentioned, but there are a few other types of service-based businesses where it doesn't really make sense. So for example, let's say you're a wedding venue. Even if you get on the phone with the bride and you charm her socks off and you just make your wedding venue sound like the greatest thing and you're really confidence inducing and all, I don't know, you're wonderful on the phone. She's probably still not going to feel ready to book with you anyways, though, because your venue and seeing it in person is probably the most important thing to her. So if you run some sort of a business like a wedding venue, where it's like, even if I got on the phone, if they still wouldn't be ready to book until something else happens, then instead of doing a free consultation call, just have the call to action on your website be directly to, do that thing which needs to happen. So like say, for example, having a venue tour is probably the best call to action for you to have if you're a wedding venue. Alternatively, if you're an interior designer or a landscaper or something of the sort, then you probably can't, give them a quote and answer all their questions properly unless you actually go see the house in person. So that's an example where you could maybe, instead of booking free consultation calls on your website, you could have them book a house tour on your website. Now, some other exceptions to this is if you have some low price services. So when I say low price services, I'm thinking like $100 or under $100. So examples of that would be like yoga studios or dance classes or hair appointments, as I was mentioning. In that case, this is not a super expensive thing. It doesn't, need a whole bunch of coordination and everything. You basically just need your customer just wants to buy the pass and then show up. So you can just skip the consultation calls altogether and just have your call to action go straight to actually selling the thing. Alternatively, if you sell products, products tend to be cheaper than services because, again, it's not being done by some skilled person. It's just one physical thing which is being sold, and in that case, then you could just directly go to the sale instead of, again, doing free consultation calls. So if you're trying to sell a $9.99 ebook, they definitely don't need to get on the phone with you beforehand to discuss that purchase. If you're selling products which are in the thousands, it might make sense again to do free consultation calls, but for most products, I would say you could just call to action straight to the sale on your website. Now, let's talk about how to design your site so that your visitors take the action that you actually want them to. So now we know what we want them to do on our website. How do we actually get them to do that thing? So let's chat about the how. The absolute worst thing that you can do on your website, it is to leave your visitors wondering what to do next. Now, here's the thing, your website, all the pages on it, you probably built the thing. And your whole inquiry process. You know that first we do this and then we do that and then we sign a contract and then you get me your content and then we do this and this and this. And then this is, all the steps until we finally have whatever this service is that I'm providing for you completed. But your customer does not know that at all. So many times I go on websites and I get to the bottom of a services page or some other page on their website and it doesn't say anything. And I'm just like, okay, well, if you're amazing and I want to book you, but what do I do? I don't know what to do. So calls to action are your best friend to tell your visitors exactly what it is that they should do next on your website. But the design of your calls to actions matters significantly to make it so that people actually do the thing that you want them to. So I'm going to show you 3 examples. The first one is really not good. The second one is decent. And the third one is our best. So this is our first one. Now, this is a website that I did design for a wedding venue in Texas. And as we talked about, just getting someone on the phone for a free consultation call, they're still not going to feel ready to book anyways. So we just went straight to we're going to get them from the website to scheduling a venue tour. Now, I don't know if you can notice it, but on the very bottom of that paragraph of text is a little link that says schedule a tour. Now, let's be honest. People scroll through websites these days. It is very possible that they could have scrolled past that link without ever noticing it at all. Now, here's a better version of that same call to action. So I've taken the link out of the paragraph of text and I've put it on its own separate line and I've turned it into a button and it says schedule a tour. So again, this is better. It's more likely, I might actually see that and notice that as I'm scrolling down the page, but we can do an even better job of this, and that is here. So this is a brand new section which I created below the one above. I took out the button schedule a tour from above, and I did an entire section that just focuses on this call to action. So it says visit and tour, schedule a tour time with a big call to action. You'll notice the image in the background. It's not a very distracting image. It's not very busy. There's not a lot happening in it. It's a really good background image because there's no one's face in it. And again, not very distracting. So the focus of this whole thing, because there's so much white space around it or blank space around it, is the schedule a tour time button. Now, my client did also want a contact us button as well, so I added it on there for her as well. But to be honest, just having the schedule a tour time would have been more than sufficient. So tips for your calls to action. It is very important when you design your calls to action that you eliminate clutter. So remember the first one where I showed you it was in the paragraph of text. I could very easily miss that. So eliminate all of the clutter around your buttons, make sure or around your calls to action, make sure there's not a lot of other things happening there so they actually, your eye can be drawn to it. The other thing is that I actually really encourage you to repeat your same call to action down the page. Now, a lot of people don't do this because they feel like they're being annoying, but I'm going to be honest, people need to see things a few times on websites before they actually take action on it sometimes. So if you'll notice, if you've ever gone to a sales page or a product page on say you want to buy a backpack or something, it shows photos of the backpack and it has a product description of the backpack and that says buy backpack now or buy for $79.99. And then you scroll down the page and it has video of the backpack and then it explains more about the backpack and then buy now. And then scroll down the page, more information, buy now, scroll down the page, buy now. And it keeps saying buy now. And there's a reason that they're doing that. So the reason is that it works. So do not feel annoying or weird to repeat the exact same call to action down the page. It is actually a beneficial thing. Then the other thing to know is you should make your calls to action stand out with buttons. Definitely buttons, no just links. Or even better, if you have like a whole dedicated section just to that call to action. And also, again, with everything with websites, make it stupid simple. So what I mean by that is don't use flowery, fancy language on this that no one understands. So don't be, if you want to get them to book a free consultation call, don't say, let's chit chat over tea, because I'm like, I don't really know what that means or what's going to happen. So like, make it so stupid simple that once I click that button, I know what's going to happen next. So it's like schedule a tour time is a pretty direct statement, which I understand. So make your calls to action, use very simplistic, direct, understandable language on them. Now, this is what I mentioned before, and that is Squarespace Scheduling, which is just heaven on earth, I'll be honest. So back in the day, when people wanted to schedule a free consultation call or whatever it was, it'd be like, they would say like, message us through our contact form and then tell us sometimes you're free. And then they message you and then you're like, okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday between this and this time. And it's like, oh wait, you're in California. Wait, but I'm in New York. So, oh wait, oh no, I actually already have a call booked at that time. And then you go back and forth like, oh, since you emailed me last, I've already booked that spot. So yada, yada. It's just a hella annoying situation. So Squarespace Scheduling fixes all of those problems. So this is a little scheduler that you can put directly on your website where you put your like schedule a tour time thing or schedule a free consultation call. They're brought to a page which looks like this. They can go through and they can select, they can see the days and times that are free. And the great thing about this is that people can only book at the times that you have chosen. So if you're like, I don't work on Mondays and Fridays, then you can choose not to do phone calls on those days and times or not give people the option to do phone calls on those days and times. It also does automatic time zone changes. So if you work with clients just locally, this is not a big deal. But if you are a person who works across time zones, especially like this week when the clocks change, which is so confusing, FYI, fun fact, Europe changes their clocks a week ahead of the US, which for 1 week makes it very confusing for everyone, including myself. But anyway, so this scheduler fixes all those problems for you because it knows all these things and it will send you an email saying like, hey, Jenny booked a call at 5 p.m., whatever. And then it will send Jenny an email saying the time in her time zone, which is just so useful. So you never need to deal with like, wait, what time is it there? And then the other thing, which is great about Squarespace Scheduling, is that will auto send reminders for you, which means you don't have no-shows. So 24 hours before, it sends both you and whoever booked an email reminding them of the phone call or the appointment or whatever it is. And then it also asks, like, it gives them the option to reschedule it as well, which is super useful. So today you learned, let's recap what we learned. First things first is that website looks really do matter. You also learned an easy platform to make a site that looks fabulous without becoming a coder or paying thousands and thousands of dollars, and that is Squarespace. You also learned that a tagline gets your visitors to stay a while, kick off their shoes, and read further through your website. Plus, you got a recipe for what goes into the perfect tagline. You also learned that booking free consultation calls should likely be your primary call to action if you're one of those, service-based business owners that I mentioned, and how to design calls to action that actually get clicked. Now, let me guess. I'm guessing that you are here today because of one of these things. Maybe you really want your business to succeed and you know that your site is a vital part of that. Or you felt helpless before DIYing your website or being at the mercy of a developer not knowing how to update and change your site yourself. Or maybe you've tried to build a site before, but you got lost in all the blog posts, videos, and forums, and honestly, you just still don't know where to start. And you're like me at the beginning, and you're like, I just want a one-stop shop of information. Someone tell me what to do. So remember that nothing that I've shared with you today is just theories or ideas. These are all things that I have tested, both on my websites, my client sites, and my student sites. And these are the things that we have done to build websites that sell. Now, I want to remind you, while it would be hella cool, I am not a unicorn. I did not go to college for this. I did not have any secret tool that you don't. And I promise you, if I can do this, if a recreation and leisure major can do this, then you absolutely can too. Now, if you're dreaming of someone taking your hand and walking you through the process of building a site that sells from start to finish, then I have an invite for you. Now, this is my course, Square Secrets. It is the most popular Squarespace course online, and it teaches you how to build a site that opens your ideal clients' hearts and wallets. Now, here's the thing. If you join us inside this course, this is what you can expect. You can expect to have launched a client-winning site which truly feels like you, properly reflects your business, and one which you are excited, not embarrassed to send your potential clients to. You're going to know exactly how to update and edit it yourself because you will have learned how to build it yourself. And that means never, ever, ever needing to rely on a developer again. That means next time you need an update to your website, you can, or you get new photos, or you get a new logo, or whatever it is, you just pop into your website, click a few buttons, and you've changed it, as opposed to paying a developer $100 an hour to do that for you. Now, I do have one very important warning for you, and that is that all of your friends and family will likely start asking you to build them a website too. Now, I don't just say this for jokes. It's literally so many past students of this course have told me exactly that. Speaking of which, this is Fiona. Fiona is a past student of Square Secrets, and she said that now that the site is launched, it's already brought in an income within its first 2 weeks. I've managed to earn a great amount of passive income within days of launching, and I've had people book in my services as they can now clearly see what I do. This was over Christmas break, so it was amazing to be earning money while on holiday. I've had so many people ask, who built it for you? And they are shocked to find out that I did it myself. Having a website has finally allowed me to launch other things like my first ebook and an online course. It's also meant that I can just send people there to see what I offer and prices rather than going back and forth over email. Now I'm excited to increase my online passive income and free up even more time to spend with my young family. I've paid 2 to 3 times this for other courses, and they've absolutely failed to deliver anything new. This was not stuff I could easily Google. Now, if you do join me inside Square Secrets, this is what you can get, or this is what you will get, sorry. You will get 8 modules of content, which, if you're wondering, like, how comprehensive is this? It is 12 hours of video trainings. You will also get 6-page content planners. So if you're worried, like, okay, I feel like I could build the website part, but I don't know what to write on my site, and like, I don't know how to talk about myself on my about page, then these page content planners will make that super simple for you. I also have 7 workbooks and checklists inside the course, 6 additional bonuses, which I'll mention in a minute. You get tech tutorial updates. So whether you are on Squarespace 7.1 or 7.0 or 7.1, this course is updated for both of those systems. And also in the future, anytime that technology updates, as it does, we go ahead and update the videos for you. So you always have the most recent stuff inside the course. And then also, as a Squarespace authorized trainer, I can also get you, when you join inside the course, 20% off your first year of Squarespace. Now, if you're wondering what exactly is covered, I'm going to run through the modules with you very quickly. So in module number 1, that is our client conversion formula module. That's where we talk about setting website goals and incorporating them into your website. And we talk about how to utilize your inspiration websites without copying them. It can be so hard. You go see some competitor's website and you're like, it's amazing, I want to be just like them. And then suddenly your website looks eerily, creepily similar to theirs. We're going to talk about how you find those things in other people's website that you love, but make sure your website doesn't look, the exact same. Then in module number 2, that's our template picking blueprint. We're going to talk about how 95% of Squarespace users pick templates wrong and why they're all doing it wrong. And then I'm going to go through with you my no second guessing 3-step template picking system. In module number 3, that is our content gathering guide. So I'll give you my picture perfect photo guidelines and a checklist. So making sure that all of your photos are optimized properly for your website, both for SEO purposes and for making sure your website actually loads properly, and just best practices for, design and everything. And then I'm also going to let you steal my 6-page content copy planners. Then in module number 4, we are talking about design best practices. So these are the things that like the pros and the designers use to make sure that their websites look amazing. And I'm also going to point out to you the dead giveaways that you DIY'd your website, which I'm going to help you avoid. Then we'll also talk about the keys to converting your ideal visitors into ideal clients and subscribers. And then in module number 5, we're going through the basics of Squarespace. So this is where I show you, I've shared my screen, and I go click by click through video tutorials to help you learn the basics of Squarespace, including like the site styles, the blocks, the page types, the settings, all of those things. And then I go ahead, I've showed you all these bits and pieces. And then at the end of the module, I show you how this all gets pulled together into an actual website page in real life. Then in module number 6, this is my favorite, it is the Squarespace Secrets. So in this module, we go through the lesser known hacks and secrets of the platform. These are things that literally took me years and years as a designer, twiddling around in Squarespace every single day to learn how to do. And I'm sharing them with you inside this module. So I'm going to show you the behind the scenes of how other Squarespace sites that your draw is currently dropping over and manage their design tricks all without code. So again, you do not need to learn any code in order to make a fabulous website with this course. And then I'm also going to go through with you the advanced block layout and design hacks, which I really love. Then in module number 7, we are going through a very important topic, and that is SEO. Remember how I told you I got myself to the #1 spot for Squarespace website designer? That was not easy, and I will tell you how I did it. So we're going to chat about the 3 main aspects that will get your site found through the search results. We're going to meet all the SEO setting options, locations in your Squarespace workspace to make sure that you have them all set correctly. And then we're also going to talk about the #1 step to beating your competition in the search results. And then finally, in module number 8, that is our launch prep. So in every one of these modules, at the end of it, there's a little bit of homework for you. And so the homework of module number 8 is literally launch your website. So we go through how to tweak your site for mobile and tablet optimization to make sure it looks good across all the different, platforms that people could be looking at it on. We're also going to go through my quick checklist to make sure that all your site settings are done correctly before you launch. And then I'll show you how to link up your domain and snag that 20% discount, which you get for joining the course. Then I also have a brand new bonus module, which I'm so excited about, and that is our e-commerce module. So most of the business owners, the over 1,000 of them that have gone through this course, they are service-based business owners, but a lot of them were asking me, they were like, hey, I would love to one day also sell a product, either like a digital product or a physical product, wondering how I do that. How do I use Squarespace e-commerce? So I have a bonus module here dedicated purely to the e-commerce section of Squarespace. So I go through click-by-click instructions for setting up your products and services inside Squarespace e-commerce. I also talk about how to best arrange and organize your products for your visitors, and how to technically do that, how to hack the page basically to show stuff the way you want it to. And then I also go through best practices for selling through your online shop. Now, I also have some really amazing bonuses included, which I'm so excited about. So the first one, probably the favorite, is our monthly live Q&A call. So once a month inside of our student Facebook community, which is our second bonus there, I have a little powwow with all the students, and I go on. They can pre-submit questions if they can't make it live, or you can also come and join me live and then ask questions as I'm doing the call. And we go through and we work through this stuff together. So if you're like, okay, I'm really struggling with trying to figure out, should I say this or this in my tagline or whatever it is, or I watched this part of the course and I got it, but I don't know, how does this apply to my business? Those are all things that we can go through together on these Q&A calls. Then I also have an ideal client psychology training for you, which really helps you get in the mind of your ideal client so you can figure out what the heck you should be putting on your website and where. I also have for you a client winning testimonial training. So when I was first collecting testimonials from clients, they all started sounding strangely similar. It was like, Paige is a great designer. She was really wonderful to work with. Thanks so much, Paige. And I was like, great, but that doesn't really convince anyone else to work with me. And so what I did was I completely switched up the way that I collected testimonials, and it has led to unbelievable results. And these are testimonials that other people read and then they go oh my God, that sounds amazing. I want that too. I want to work with her now. So I'll go through how I made that change and how you can do that too in your business. Then we'll also go through my site graphics training. So you learn how to make these, beautiful graphics to work together with your Squarespace site. And then I go through an opt-in gift design and delivery training. So if you want to have a freebie on your website, or a lead magnet, as it's also called, I go through how to actually create that thing and then put it on your website and set up the whole technical aspect of automatically sending that. So you don't need to, sit there in your inbox sending this thing to people. Then, all right, sounds fabulous. Your next question is probably sounds wonderful, but what's the investment? Let's talk about typical website pricing. So if you were to hire a designer to build your website for you, as someone who's very in the Squarespace web design world, I can tell you the average going rate for a website is between $3,000 to $9,000, depending on how many pages it has and how much functionality you want it to have and everything. But that is, the average going rate these days for a website designer to build your website. Now, the other thing to know is that if you have a designer build your site for you and you therefore don't know how to update and edit yourself, it means that you're going to have to always pay someone to do the maintenance and updates for you. And that can easily be $125 an hour is an average going rate for a developer or designer these days. And you'll need to pay that monthly or yearly for forever. Plus, let's be real, so many people who I've worked with or have gone through this course and then later on said like, oh, thank the Lord, I used to email this guy and then he would take like 2 weeks to get back to me. And then he'd be like, oh, I'm booked for like a month. I can do this a month away from now. And it would take forever for them to get updates to their website. So let's be real. Who needs the hassle of doing that? Now, the other thing is if you took an IT degree in college to learn how build this thing, code it from scratch, that would easily set you back 30 grand in tuition alone. Now, one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about this course is because of the immense savings that it brings business owners. I'm going to share a fun fact with you. I started my business or the travel blog in college, and then I moved abroad and had no way to make money. So, I had no budget when I was starting my business. And so I really have a heart for people who are also starting it in a similar situation. And they're like, I don't have a budget for a designer, because I definitely did not have a budget for a designer when I started my business. So I totally, totally get it. Now, if you would love to join us inside the course, we would love to have you. And you can get inside of it for either one payment of $700 or 2 payments of $400. Now, I have some even better news for you. Here's the thing, is that Teachable, Cameron, twisted my arm. And here's the thing, enrollment doesn't actually open again until February 2021. So we open up for a class of students about every 6 months to a year. And so the next one isn't actually until February, but Cameron convinced me to, one, let you in just this week only, and also get you $100 off the price. So that brings the price down to either one payment of $600 or 2 payments of $350 if you would like to do the payment plan option. So again, Cameron, good for him. He really saved you $100 off this thing. So just know that this is a fabulous opportunity to get in both outside of our regular enrollment periods and to also get some savings in the process. Now, again, what you get inside the course is there are 8 modules, which is 12 hours of video trainings, those 6-page content planners to help you write all your copy, 7 workbooks and checklists, those 6 additional bonuses, which I mentioned, the tech tutorial updates, 20% off your first year of Squarespace, and some of those favorite bonuses, again, are the monthly Q&A calls and the Facebook community. Now, remember, you can sneak outside of the regular enrollment periods now, but after that, the course is closed for a few months. Plus, because you joined today, you can save that $100. So my hope for you is this. This is Jessica Johnson. She's also a past student of Square Secrets. She's actually built the San Francisco website, which I showed you earlier. And she said that having a website that you're confident in and that your ideal clients are happy to hang out on is something every business owner deserves. We received 3 excellent prospective client inquiries today, and we just went live last night. So that is my hope for you. My hope is that you also build a fabulous website that you are so confident to send your clients to. So I'd just like to say thank you. It was absolutely lovely to meet you, and I wish you all the best of luck with your website. And I would love to take your questions.
All right. Paige, that was incredible, and we had a lot of questions coming in. First of all, we've had a couple people saying I am buying this. Hector says this is a great offer. So there are a couple questions about the topic, but there are a couple questions also about the course, which I think I might just want to ask first. We're asking about that.
Like I ran a marathon.
Yeah. So Alana in the chat says, what kind of results are your customers getting? And Ozma has a similar question about a specific topic. She says, if I want to offer Squarespace websites, help people with my SEO services, will of course be able to help them.
Yes.
So yes, about the results, and someone wants to know specifically about, if they have an SEO-based business, will of course help them.
Yep, totally. Okay, this is good questions. So yeah, the student results are so amazing. So we, at the end of the course, my hack for how you get really amazing testimonials, we use it ourselves. And then students will share some of their unbelievable results with me. So people have had things like the next day after they launched, like Jessica had, they had like these ideal clients inquiring through their website. That one she told me, I can't share the amount because she wouldn't let me share it, but it was a massive, massive interior design project that she had literally someone inquire for the very next day. People have also set up, if they are normally offering services, then they start offering like products and things. And as Fiona said, she had people who were like purchasing her stuff or booking consultation calls or booking her actual like coaching services. She's a business coach, immediately right through her website without her ever needing to like get on the phone or I don't know, or even like send back and forth email to these people. So that is something which frequently happens. We've also had a lot of students who have worked their way up in their chosen keyword, which is one of the things which I'm the happiest about. Then the question about SEO. So she runs an SEO business or wants to be an SEO or?
So she said, I want to help Squarespace websites with services, I think related to
Perfect.
SEO.
Got it. Yeah. Yep. So we go through all the important best practices for SEO here. So there's two typical services which people offer when it comes to SEO services. So the one is like, I set up your website and then I also do all the like basic SEO for you. And so people are always wondering what's the difference between like basic SEO and, more advanced SEO. And so the difference between the two primarily that I've seen with business or with web designers is basic SEO is like, I'll do all the settings, I'll name all the images, I'll make sure your keywords are in the right places, and I'll get your, description correct and all these bits and pieces, like the basic site settings. And then when it comes to like advanced SEO work, that's when you're doing things like you're link building, you're creating content, you're building these, you're doing keyword research, and you're building these specific pages to rank for those certain keywords and getting backlinks and stuff. And so that's more what like advanced SEO is. So we do talk we cover all of the basic stuff. And then we also talk about the advanced stuff. A little bit of we talk about keyword research, we talk about backlinks and blogging and all those things. But it's not as heavily focused in the advanced stuff. It covers it, but it's not the main focus of the course, I guess I should say.
That makes sense. So one thing that I'm seeing here, someone wants to know, will you honor this offer after we have like a little bit to take a look at your website? So Maya says, this is my first time taking a class with you and I want to check out your website.
Go look at it. Go look at the blog. You'll love it.
Nice.
Yeah. How many days? Is 7 days that it's open for?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, one question that I see coming in here, Mandy says, when do you know if it's time? I think she asked this when you were talking about how, your business was fully booked up or something. When do you know when it's time to hire an assistant or scale up somehow?
Yes. Oh my gosh, Mandy, I had this problem. Okay, so what I did at the time, so I fully booked out the web design business, and I was literally, because I got myself, once you get yourself to the top spot of Google for Squarespace web designer, you get a lot of inquiries. And then that's when I realized like I need to do something. So I had a few options, and I think you have a wide variety of options. For me, it was to the point where like I was getting an inquiry a day. I couldn't just book myself once out. I could book myself like 10 times out in the year. So it's like I don't just need to hire an assistant. I need to do something like way more than that. So for me, it was figuring out like, do I want to become a web design agency where I have like 10 different designers and I'm overseeing those people? Or do I want to do something more scalable like a course? And course felt like the right thing for me, again, because I started my business in college, no budget. It was kind of like, I'm helping all these people who, have these budgets for like $5,000 websites, but I couldn't have afforded that. So I also want to help people who don't have that sort of budget. So I chose to go the course route, but it's also an option. I think if you're getting to the point where it's like, I'm getting a lot of inquiries and I just don't have enough time to actually do the design work because I'm doing so much like admin stuff, then that's a point where it's like just hiring an assistant totally is like a great thing to do. Processing, systematizing, and then hiring an assistant. But then if you're getting to the point where it's like, this is just like the demand is so intense, then you even need to go somewhere further, like scaling in a different way.
So we have a question here from Heather. So Heather says, if I want to build an online presence at this time, because I'm not actually ready to sell yet, or wait, there was a question. Is this something that would be good for me already, or is it best to wait until the product is available? So I guess she's asking like, where in the business journey would your course be appropriate for?
Yep. So right from the very beginning, no matter if you're like, I just want to be like creating content on a topic for now, if you're like, I just want to start blogging and like creating a presence and getting known for this topic, then that's totally fine. In terms of your website goals, we go through at the very beginning of the course, like what are your website goals? So here we've mostly talked about like selling something, but it can even happen before that. Like it could be like building an audience, building a Facebook group, building an email list, whatever it is. Creating that audience is one genuinely really intelligent to do, because like then once you go to sell whatever it is you go to sell, you have people to sell it to. So honestly, starting off at this point of like building a really strategic website, you don't just want a strategic website once you want to sell something, because you want to build the audience first, and that also takes strategy. So at any point in your business, once you're like, I need to do something on the internet, this can help you. And then your website goal will just change over time basically, and then you'll tweak and update your website to reflect that.
So we're a little bit past the hour, so we have a couple of last questions here. So one last question was from Maya, and Maya wanted to know two things: where you recommend getting stock photos, and what the dollar value represents of the 20% off Squarespace.
Yes, good question. So I'll start with the 20% off thing. It depends on which Squarespace plan you pick. So there's a Squarespace personal plan, business plan, e-commerce, basic, and e-commerce advanced. I think I'm trying to remember. It's up to like, I want to say it's like $94 off the most expensive Squarespace plan. I need to check on the lesser ones, but 20% off whatever plan you're choosing, basically. If you go to squarespace.com/pricing, you can see the different plan options. In the course, we go through picking like which one should you use, which plan option should you use. So it's 20% off whichever one you choose. Maximum one, I think, saves you $94. And then the question on stock photos. So I have a lot of great places for stock photos. So inside of Squarespace, they've actually just recently, like a few months ago, they started this sweet integration with Unsplash, which I don't know if you know Unsplash, but it's like the greatest place on the internet to find photos. And so automatically, you don't even need to go to Unsplash, like within your Squarespace editor, you can just like search photos and you can search photos for Unsplash. So that's one of my favorite places. Otherwise, I really love, in terms of like creative girly photos, which is more my thing. SC Stock Shop is amazing. Social Squares is really good. Creative Market or Etsy also have great stock photos as well.
And I think maybe one last question here. Before we ask this, I'd love if everyone could just say thank you in the chat to Paige for coming in and sharing her time so generously with us. So go ahead and just say thank you in the chat to Paige. And in the meantime, the last question I see here in here is one from Hector here. So Hector says, I've seen a lot of people using Webflow now. Have you heard of this? Is Squarespace still the best platform out there?
I would say yes. Yes, so Webflow is definitely something I've been seeing Instagram ads for it lately. But Squarespace is one of those things which it's been around for 13 years now. Anthony Castellano made it 13 years ago in his dorm room. And he has really nailed it in terms of like design. I feel like Squarespace is one of those platforms which has just gone for like most tech platforms in the past. They were like, we do tech first and then like it's kind of clunky and ugly, but whatever. Whereas Squarespace is one of those ones which, as you learned, having your website look amazing is really freaking important. And so they've done it really well in both in terms of like technical functionality, but also balancing that with like the design side of it. So I would say, in my opinion, Squarespace is still the best. I'm not, again, if that changes ever, I also like other website platforms. I do love Showit in my heart as well. There's a few difficulties with it, which I will admit. But anyways, yeah, Squarespace is still my favorite, even after Webflow. Sorry.
All right. So I think that's all the questions we have time for today. And everyone in the chat is saying, thank you, Paige. Thanks so much. That like really nice words here. Paige, any last words before we wrap this up, or where can folks find you online, that kind of thing?
Yes. So you can find me at paigebrunton.com. I would love to see you over there on the blog. Whether or not you choose to join the course or not, the blog has a boatload of useful information. So I definitely encourage you to go check it out. And if you would like to join me inside the course, remember it's not actually open for enrollment right now. We do open again in February. So I would encourage you, there's 7 days where you could get inside with the $100 off savings. So if it feels like the right thing for you, I would love to have you join us.
All right. And I think that does it for today's workshop. Thanks everyone for joining us and hope to see you on the next one. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.